saw me having a plate of vegetarian momos and I poured Diet Coke all over it and then consumed it, you would stop and look at me and try to reason as to why am I doing what I'm doing? Am I crazy? Am I doing it for more likes and shares? Am I just somehow born without any taste buds? Or did I just have a troubled childhood that has led me to binge eat on all sorts of strange things? But it isn't unusual for someone to come across people behaving differently from what they're used to and then try to reason or rationalize that behavior pattern. So if you see someone who forgets to do their homework, it's natural to think, oh, that person is very forgetful. Or if you see someone who might forget to turn the gas stove off or forget to do their chores, or just say somebody who says, I don't feel like making my bed today. So there are a whole list of assumptions that will turn up in your head, forgetful, lazy, stupid, we try to rationalize things. But if you saw me just eating a plain plate of plain vegetarian momos, it would be fine. You wouldn't question that. And the reason I'm starting with this is because sometimes when we try to question behavior or we try to normalize them into patterns which we are used to, we can actually end up doing a lot of harm. This is Sonali Acharji, and you are listening to Health Wealth, a podcast that hopes to leave you with the wisdom and the motivation which is needed to look after your well being. We've done podcasts on mental health already. We've spoken to patients who've been diagnosed with autism. We've spoken with therapists who've dealt with depression. We've had people come and help us guide us to finding the right therapist. And each time I find it important to begin with the fact that we've sort of become obsessed with the idea of normalcy as a society. And anything that deviates from that is misunderstood, isolated, and often just given all sorts of labels. And it's the labels that do more harm than anything else because people end up believing that about themselves. And they might not end up going for a diagnosis to a doctor, possibly even exploring their own selves because there's just a label given to you. So if you're told that you're stupid or lazy or forgetful, you might spend your whole life trying to overcome these things without ever thinking of going to a doctor and asking them, hey, do I have ADHD? And that is something I've actually heard from a patient of ADHD who spent many, many years believing herself to have something missing, believing herself to be a lazy child. But she wasn't. She actually had a condition which interfered with her ability to do the things that you and I might find very easy to do. And this is the first time I'm doing a podcast with somebody who is a minor. She is 15 and her name is Aaria Varma. She is a mental health advocate. She is the founder of Zen Z, which is an initiative which she set up, which wants to raise mental health awareness amongst teenagers and other people of her generation. And I'm very excited that she has agreed to come and talk to us. She's also an ADHD patient herself. So this is the first time we're going to get a perspective of something from a young person's point of view. Hi, Arya, how are you?
Good, how are you?
We're doing this now for the fourth time because even though you're Gen Z and I'm a millennial, we haven't been able to figure out how to get stable internet. Let's just tell me a little bit about yourself, Arya. How are you? And where did you grow up? What are your memories like? And what do you do right now?
So a little bit about myself. I live in Mumbai. I'm 15 going on 16. My memories are Um, I love to spend time with the people that I love. So every year I take a vacation with my parents, my nana, my nani, my extended family, and I love to travel. I love to spend time with my family, and it's something I look forward to every year. So those are definitely my happiest memories. Um, my I could tell you some stuff that I love to do. I love to
Mhm.
I love to sleep. So I've been working very. I have exams. I'm in 10th grade, and
Yeah.
I've been working very late into the nights, waking up very early for my exams. So sleep is a luxury for me right now, and I love to just get my whole 8 hours of sleep. It's very important to me. I've done ballet for 10 years, so I love to dance. I love to move. Um, what do I do? So I'm a student. I dance, and I also run this platform called Zen Z, which is about mental health. And so that's just a little bit about myself.
Yeah. Arya, when I first came across your podcast, um, what I found so amazing was how you sort of normalized the use of the word mental health. You're so okay about talking about your journey. You're okay about talking about the other aspects of mental health. It's something that I would say in previous generations, as a journalist, I struggled to find patients who would talk about their mental health. And now, there's this entire generation that's very open and very aware and absolutely comfortable talking about it. Um, can you tell me why mental health is important to you and why are you so comfortable talking about it?
I don't necessarily think mental health is something that we need to shy from. I don't think so. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, and I don't think it's something that I need to be scared of, or hide myself from. It's part of me. It's who I am, and I think I just like I've learned to embrace it over time. So that's why I think I'm very open about my journey, and I have grown up in a household where my parents are very supportive of me, and they've continuously told me that it doesn't mean anything. Mental health is equally as important as physical health, and it's very important to me to take care of my mental health. So I think that's why I've been so open about it. And yeah.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about what you know about ADHD? From somebody who's been diagnosed. What is ADHD?
So, what can I tell you about ADHD today? ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is a neurodiverse issue among children and adults today. So, I can just give you a few statistics off the top of my head. So, according to the National Institute of Health, NIH, 2.5 to 6.7% of adults today are affected with ADHD, which on a global scale, which is
Mhm.
roughly translated to 366 million people. And in
That's
India today,
fast math.
sorry,
That's fast math.
yeah, no, I've memorized these for my
Ah,
podcast. Um, Moreover, 11% of children today in India are affected by ADHD as well. So when I had done this research, in fact, I was very shocked to see that so many people were affected by ADHD. Like so many people are similar to me.
yeah.
um,
Did you know what was ADHD before you got diagnosed with it? Did you have any idea what this condition was?
so I did not know about ADHD before I was diagnosed, and I mean I was very young, and honestly, my parents also did not know much about it either. So after the test, we spoke to specialists. We did our research, to understand more about ADHD, and that's when we fully grasped what it was and we understood more about it.
Yeah. How did the, a lot of people would see symptoms of ADHD, and it's what I mentioned before. A lot of the behavior can easily be characterized as, forgetful or lazy, because there are, it is a problem in starting things, or, some people have problems finishing things as well.
Hmm.
How did you realize at all that, that there might be a deeper problem?
So, I mean, I was not the one to diagnose myself or figure that I had a problem. I characterize myself as a very lazy kid.
Mm.
So when I was 12 years old in 2021, I was in seventh grade and I was finding it, or maybe sixth grade, sorry, and I was finding it very difficult to focus during my lessons. And math was a challenge for me actually. So it was hard for me to learn simple tables like 15 times table, 16 times table. So my parents sensed that I was struggling. They took me to see a therapist, and the therapist actually suggested that I got a few tests done. So the test that I did came back positive for dyscalculia and ADHD. So that's where we are
Mhm.
now.
That's right. And has it helped going to therapy and knowing that there are ways to manage your neurodiversity?
Mm-hmm. So um, I would say that what is really important to me and what has helped me a lot is the support. Support is critical. So, we all live in an ecosystem, whether it's your family or your friends, your teachers, whatever. They all play a part in your life. And for them to know that you have ADHD will help. It helped me. So my school helped me, my parents obviously helped me, supported me, my friends and family, I have some trigger points, so they knew. My tuition
Yeah.
teachers helped me, everything. The By telling them, I built this ecosystem for myself where, you know people were not like different around me, but it was like they could tell, like they knew, like, oh, she's not lazy, she's
Mhm.
not trying, she's just she just can't focus that well, so I have to pay more attention. But I get my stuff done if I work hard for it. And
Yeah.
my parents push me, my friends push me, my teachers push me. So the pushing helps, the support helps.
Yeah. You know, before we started this conversation, there are a few people of ADHD I did talk to who've not been diagnosed. And what really struck me is that they are identifying with somebody who has ADHD through the internet. So you see, if I am undiagnosed, but I read about your experience, I can hear your words and it sort of resonates with me. And I'm
Mm,
like, oh, I'm like that. So maybe I have ADHD. Um, and yet, because you don't have a diagnosis and you don't have this, support system that understands you, like you said, that helps you, that sort of pushes you when needed, that understands your triggers, um, they can't manage their ADHD. So it's one thing to know that you might have an issue. It's another thing you lack that support system. If
mhm.
somebody is listening right now and say they identify with what you're saying, do you have something to motivate them to go and get diagnosis and, find their path to getting better?
So I'm speaking to the audience here. If you're feeling scared to share your struggles with your parents, or you're worried, parents sometimes won't believe you, know that your feelings matter and you're not alone. Opening up can be tough, but your parents are your biggest allies, even if it doesn't seem that way. So they love you, they want what's best for you, and you're not alone. there are people who care deeply for you and want to help you feel better. So asking for help, asking for diagnosis shows strength, it shows courage, and a belief that things can improve, which they absolutely can. Ask me. Um, so you've already taken the first step, I would say, by recognizing your feelings, and that's something to be proud of. And getting a diagnosis can only help you. It can only
Yeah.
help you. It can't do anything
Yeah.
else.
Somebody once told me this, and it's such a beautiful thought that we think strength is pushing ourselves and, overcoming challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes there's also strength in just saying, I can't do this, I need help.
Right.
And, it's
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
a very beautiful way of looking at strength as well. Tell me a little bit about, I mean, you mentioned your school and that, there's support in schools as well. And now, this is my point of view, but I do think that schools matter since a child spends so much of time within the school environment. How important is it for schools to start recognizing, the support that children need for mental health?
It's absolutely vital. Schools should prioritize educating children about symptoms of mental health conditions, as it fosters early identification, it reduces the stigma, so people get like more comfortable with it. It enhances your personal and academic growth. Mental health issues often emerge during childhood, and half of the conditions start by age 14 or even earlier sometimes. So many students remain undiagnosed and untreated, which can lead to long-term challenges. So schools are a unique platform which can teach children and recognize symptoms like anxiety, depression, ADHD. So I think the support from schools is absolutely vital. So schools have to start prioritizing educating children about symptoms of mental health. It fosters early identification. It reduces the stigma so people are more comfortable. It enhances your personal growth, your academic growth. Mental health issues often emerge during childhood, with half of the conditions starting by age 14, sometimes younger. So many students remain undiagnosed and untreated, which can lead to long term challenges. Schools provide a unique platform where they can teach children and recognize symptoms like anxiety, depression, ADHD, so it can enable early intervention. Programs that include counseling, social emotional learning, and parent engagement have shown remarkable results, such as reduced absenteeism or improved academic outcomes. So, I can give you an example actually. I was researching on this. In the US, more than half of public schools now offer diagnostic mental health assessments, and 42%, I believe, provide treatments which have been linked to fewer crises and better student well-being. And many schools in India today as well think of mental health as something, they recognize it. They have sessions, awareness sessions about mental health, PSHE sessions. So I do think schools are coming around to helping, and they're recognizing how important this issue is as well.
Yeah. And for those of us who are not fortunate to be in a school where mental health is being recognized, we have the beauty of the internet and we have lovely podcasts like yours, which can help educate us as well. So can you tell me a little bit about Zen Z? Because you did tell me, what it is, but how did it start? Where do you see it going? And, with ADHD, how do you manage to do this?
So, um, first let me address your ADHD part of the question. Um, my ADHD does not stop me from doing this. It does not, push me back in any form or manner. ADHD for me is more just focus related. So this is something that I'm passionate about, that I want to do. And
Mhm.
my ADHD is, it does not really affect my ability to perform well in this field.
Right.
So
Right.
um I'll just tell you a little bit about Zen Z. So essentially, it is an online platform where teenagers and parents can come and fully understand and comprehend the many stresses that teenagers face today. So I'll give you some examples. Teenagers today are faced with extreme pressures from, you have your academic pressures, peer pressure, social pressures, the
Mhm.
constant need to fit in, your FOMO, so comparing yourselves to people on social media, real
Yeah.
life. This can lead to anxiety, and it can have a detrimental impact on your mental health, which can, affect relationships, physical health, academic performance, and some cases even eating disorders, personality disorders. So, and the problem in India is already large. By teenagers understanding what they are going through, they can strive to reduce their stress. So it is therefore important to create awareness and spark conversation about teenage mental health, which is what I am trying to achieve with Zen Z. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
after my diagnosis, I always knew that I wanted to make a difference in the mental health field, because I've been through it myself, and it was really tough for me to comprehend, to fully understand what was happening to me. So creating a
Yeah.
platform like Zen Z felt like the smartest and the easiest way to reach as many people as possible. I mean, it's
Yeah.
online, people can log in and just watch it. I just felt like this was the right way to provide the support that I wish I had back then from a fellow teenager. Back then,
Yeah.
like years ago, it was very hard. Some people like couldn't understand what it was. Like not
Mhm.
everybody knew
Yeah.
about it. So I wanted to help people understand by sharing these. So I have spoken to mental health professionals in my videos, and by sharing their opinions, their tools, their tips on handling different types of stress, I wanted to cover smaller, less frequently talked about topics. So it creates a safe space, an environment for teenagers. Um,
Yeah.
so after I done research actually a couple years ago about this, I went to my parents, I showed them my vision and my passion for this. And after months of connecting with these psychologists, these experts, getting their precious time, I think we managed to create some extraordinary content. And I really hope this is helping people, and teenagers are getting the most rich experience these counselors have to offer.
Here's the thing. You talked a little bit about safe space. And there is a certain level of relatability when you see someone your own age, especially when you're young.
Right.
I think as you grow a little older, or at least with me, I can relate to elder people. I'm in my 30s now. So if a 60-year-old is talking to me, I can relate to that. But I'm 100% sure if I was 15 and a 30-year-old was giving me advice, I would have said, they know nothing about my life. Um, they don't understand the changing situations
Mhm.
of teenagers, as and because every generation has their struggles. And I do think yours is one which is living in the social media age. And you're right, there's a lot of peer pressure, a lot of expectations, also a lot of harshness and roughness in the world
Right.
around you. So that safe space is very important. When you found your support system or your safe space, how has it changed you as a person? Like what you think about yourself or how you connect to yourself? Has it changed or?
So my relationship with myself has not changed. Um, Before I found out about my diagnosis, I found it difficult to cope in my academics. So I was behind in many subjects, especially maths. But after learning about ADHD, after my support system, I've come back on track. I've buck up in my academic life, and this safe space, my relationship with myself has not changed. I've just learned to focus better, and my relationship with anybody else has also not changed. I think it's just about me knowing my strengths and my weaknesses,
Mhm.
and which has helped me to grow as a person and to know yourself better. Like, I just know
Yeah.
what I need to do to focus, how I need to get to where I need to be, even with ADHD. So I think that has helped me. My support system is just, recognizing that I might be slower in a few things. My parents do tell me it's okay. Don't worry, you can take your time.
Yes.
You learn it as long as you work hard. That's it's always helped, but my relationship with myself has not changed.
Yeah. But are you still very hard on yourself? Like, say, if you're unable to focus at some point, do you ever consider yourself now to be lazy, or sort of feel like you're not succeeding the way that you would want to? I mean, does that
So
reduce with treatment? Because we
so
are very hard on ourselves when we are
yeah,
not being what we wish to be.
right. I think everybody has their moments, everyone has their days. There are times I feel frustrated, hopeless, and I'm a big procrastinator. So
Mhm.
when I procrastinate, I do feel this sense of, oh, what am I doing? I need to work. And there are times I want to concentrate, I want to do well, but things just keep getting in the way. Somebody
Mhm.
moving in the back of the classroom, somebody coughing during an exam. So it's stuff like this does affect me. But like, after learning about ADHD, I found methods that have helped me to concentrate. And like, I fidget during my lessons, I chew gum when I'm learning or reading big texts, watching long videos. And that helps me to focus. But there are still times where I simply, no matter what I do, I cannot focus. Sometimes I like to dance, I like movement, and when I sweat a little bit, I feel better. Then I'm a little tired and I can focus again. So like I said, everyone has their days. But um I usually like to tell myself, it's okay, you can do it,
Mhm.
you have time, calm down. You know, I like to give myself some positivity, and rather than, just pressure, and
Mhm.
then I feel much better about myself.
Yeah. You know, it's good that you talked about procrastinating a bit, because I'm also like that, and this
Mhm.
happens every time before a podcast recording. I swear, I look at the time and it says 5 hours left, and I'm like, oh, there's plenty of time. I can load the script later. I can put the name later. I can get ready later. And I don't know what happens. The next thing I know, it's 20 minutes in. And then I'm like rushing here, rushing there, coming up with excuses. And it takes a lot of strength to build that discipline.
Right.
It's one thing that, yes, I might have some, minor version of neurodiversity that keeps me like this as well. Or I might just be lazy, which can also happen. But the point is, for me to overcome that, whatever it is, whatever the diagnosis may be, I need strength to invest in that discipline. Because my mind might say, take it easy. I might find it difficult to focus, but I need to build that discipline. I need to push myself to overcome this much. Where, I mean, and this is really the last thing I really want to ask you, because I am so amazed by your strength.
Like,
Where are you getting it from?
so for me, Fortunately, my parents are my biggest supporters, and strength to me comes from all those years of struggling with math, struggling with English, struggling to understand simple, basic learning, education. And my after suffering with my academic performance, I think constantly reminding myself, you can do it, you need to do well, you need to do well. I think that's my strength. I think my strength is also the fact that I know myself. I know where I'm at and how much I have to work. And I think my parents, as I said, their constant pushing, their constant support, it really helps me to stay on track, because getting off track is
Yeah.
very easy, but getting on track again is probably the hardest thing to do. Is to start, I think. I mean, like, the journey is easy. It's just
Mhm.
starting that essay, starting that math test, starting to study, start opening that
Yes.
book. That's the hardest thing. The hardest thing is, okay, the hardest thing is going to the gym, not working out. That's fine, but it's the movement to the gym. It's always starting. So my parents push me to just start,
Mhm.
and I think that helps me.
Yeah, starting is very difficult. It's something a lot of ADHD patients often talk about, that it's that first step. And
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is wonderful, and you might be able to help a lot of people take that first step and go to the therapist, which I think is probably harder for someone with ADHD, because the very thing that they have, the problem of starting, is the one thing that's needed to get to treatment as well. So, thank you for sharing everything you have, and thank you for the work that you're doing for mental health.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that you're doing, and I think um, I just want to say thank you so much for bringing me on here today.
I once had someone write to me on Instagram and say that, do you think you're doing too many episodes on mental health? And I would say no, that I believe mental health to be as much a part of our well being as anything else. And all parts of your health are important for you to understand yourself, to make the right choices for yourself, and to lead a healthy and a happy life. Which is why we're planning on doing the next episode also on mental health, certainly a component of on mental health. It's an episode with a doctor from AIMS Delhi, and it's going to be on dementia. If you have any questions on dementia, or if there's a particular aspect of dementia that you would like to know more about, you can write to us. We are there on pods@indiatoday.com. You can also message us on 8588 966 996. And if you've enjoyed this episode, and if Arya's experiences have added some value or meaning to your life, then please do review us. We are there on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, the India Today website, and various other audio streaming platforms.